Hi guys, welcome back for episode number 61 of the weekly playback. I'm excited about this week because I have a couple of new arrivals to show you, which I'm really excited about. But first, I will talk about the games I played. And in the last week, I only played 4 games, but 3 of them were new to me, so that is good. Well, 2 of them I got off of my shelf of shame. I'll say shelf of shame because those have been sitting on my shelf for quite some time. But one of them was a very recent arrival, but I just got to play it anyway. So I'll get into the games that I played. So the first one that I got off of my shelf of shame is Iki. I got a review copy of this at UKGE last year, UK Games Expo in June of last year. And oh my God, I've been dying to play it since then. And I'm so excited that I finally got to play it because I absolutely loved this game. So this is a 2015 game. Actually, I think no, this is the new edition, 2015, I guess. So it's 2 to 4 players, designed by Kuta Yamada, and the art is done by David Sitbon and Kuta Yamada, and it's published by Utsuroy, I guess. And sorry, we are French. And I got this from Hatchet Board Games UK. So I believe Hatchet is like a distributor, like they, I guess, publish and distribute games from different publishers. So this is a really great game that has like open drafting. It says pattern building. I don't remember pattern building in this game. I'm like trying to remember where pattern building came into play. It says point-to-point movement. Yes, there is point-to-point movement. There is a rondelle and set collection, but pattern building? I do not remember pattern building in this game. I just, for the life of me, cannot remember where the pattern building came into play. Because you have this one board, and I will throw up pictures. So it's not terribly big, so I can show you. So depending on player count, you'll use one side or the other. So I played a 2-player game of this, so we used this side. Here you have so you're going to be moving on the road here. So you'll be moving along the road here. And there will be different kinds of stalls, like workers or buildings that you can use to perform different actions. Down here, up here, sorry. So up here you have the different seasons that will be tracked, and there are going to be different like tokens that come out for each season, like fish tokens, tobacco pouches, and I think that's it. Yeah, so we've got tobacco pouches, and fish tokens that come out. So those give you set collection points. Again, do not remember pattern building at all. I don't know where that happened. So you have different like seasons that you're going to go through, and at the end of certain rounds, there's going to be a fire that sweeps through the city. So you are trying to increase your firefighting power so that if the fire happens to hit the locations in which you own stalls, that you'll hopefully be able to fight off those fires. Otherwise, you will lose those stalls. So let me just show you some of the cards and how it kind of works. So here is a player board. So your player board is going to look like this. And let me just show you some examples of cards. So different cards will come out in different seasons as they're indicated by their backside. So like orange is fall, blue was winter, I believe. And so like you'll see the different kind of action you'll be able to take. So if you go in a certain location, like for example, I'll just show this part of the board. So let's suppose your guy stops here on its movement. You will be able to look up above, take this action plus one of the actions on a card there. And if it's someone else's card, or even your own, you will increase the experience marker. So when you place down a card somewhere, you're going to put one of your own meeples on it, and every time it's used, the meeple is going to increase until it retires, and once it retires, you will get that effect on the top for income. So no matter what, you'll always get income during the income phase when you place out a person, like a business person. So the income you'll get will always be above where your meeple is. And again, the experience level increases. So these cards provide different kinds of actions that people can take as indicated on the bottom, and then different kinds of income as indicated on the side. So pattern building. I think pattern building, they say it's pattern building because, for example, if you have several cards together of the same type. So like, let's suppose you had 3 purple cards together. Maybe that's what they mean by pattern building. I'm not sure I would call it pattern building. I would call it more set collection still. But let's suppose there were 3 purple stalls, business people in one location. And you would get points for that at the end of the round, depending on how many colors of the same type are next to each other. Sorry, not necessarily next to each other, but in the same location, and how many meeples you have. So how many of those you own, you would multiply the number of meeples you have by the number of the color in that location to get a certain number of points. So you're trying to collect Iki points, and Iki points are measured by these really pretty pink flowers. I think they're cherry blossoms. So basically you are going to be going around. So the first player is determined by whoever has the highest firefighting power, and whoever has the highest firefighting power will get to place one of their meeples. So let me just show you the different meeples. So this guy is the one who is actually going to be moving around on the big board. I don't remember what it's called exactly. Then there's this one. I think this one's called Izika or something like that. This one is the one that's going to be resting on your own player board until the beginning of the round, when in turn order you will get to place it on this section of the board. So again, depending on firefighting power, you will determine who gets to place first. So if you have the highest firefighting power, you will get to place this meeple first on one of these locations, which indicates how many movement points you have to go around that town. So you're going to be looking at like which kinds of shops and which kinds of people are there that you want to visit to perform different kinds of actions, and you'll get to place your meeple first, and then the next person with the next highest firefighting power will get to place their meeple after that, and so on. If you place in the section that allows you 1 to 4 movements, at the beginning of your turn you will not get to collect income or to recruit a person, because at the beginning of your turn that's the first thing you get to do. You either collect income, which is not income, I don't remember what it's called because income is different. You either just get to collect money or you get to recruit a person by paying the cost. So each person is going to have a cost that you will need to pay in order to recruit them and then place them out on the board if there is a spot available. Then you do your movement, and then you take back your meeple, and then so on. And then there's going to be the end of the round cleanup and whatever the end of the round requires, depending on which phase in the season you are, and so on. So this person is the one that's going to move from your own board to that spot that tells you how many movement points you'll get. And these guys, you'll have a couple, I believe 4 tiny ones that are the ones that will get to go on business people and any buildings that you have acquired and placed out into the town for people to visit. So there are also building cards in addition to these business people, these shopkeepers. Building cards are a little bit harder to make, I guess is the word I'm looking for, to purchase, because they require gold. A lot of them require gold pieces. So like for example, this one I actually managed to build. So you need 3 wood and 2 gold pieces, and gold is harder to acquire in this game. And if you place it down somewhere and put your person on it, no one can get something from visiting this. It just means that you will get 26 points at the end of the game. Because I was able to put this down in the second to last round, I thought I was going to win, and my opponent really thought like, he just kept on like kind of whining throughout the game because none of the fires would affect me. The fires, only one fire affected me towards the end. But he was the one who always got to like randomly shuffle the fire tokens and then pick one and see where the fire, would go, and they didn't affect me. And he kept on wanting my people to burn and die, but it didn't happen. But at a certain point, you might actually want that to happen, because if people are not using your shopkeepers and they're not retiring, they're just occupying spaces on the board, and you can't bring out new shopkeepers and you can't bring out new buildings. So at the end of the game, I was lucky enough to be able to bring out this building, but I still lost by a couple of points. But yeah, I really like this game. So basically, again, your firefighting power determines who gets to go first, and then you're just going around this rondel, performing different actions, and trying to get different things. You might be wanting to go for some set collection points with the fish and the tobacco pipes. You might want to just, try to put out people who will then retire, and then during the income phase get you some Iki, which are points that you need at the end. You know, so it's basically like just a, you know, it's kind of like a simple year. There's nothing too complicated about it. When you're reading the rules, it might seem a bit complicated, you know, because there's like different seasons and then different things you have to do at the end of the various seasons, but it's really not bad. So you have a fire at the ends of round 5, 8, and 11. At the ends of round 3, 6, 9, and 12, you will have an income phase, and you also have to feed people. So any people you have out on the board, you need to feed them 1 rice per shopkeeper, and if you can't feed them, then you have to remove one of them. So you definitely need to be mindful of getting rice throughout the game as well. And then at the very end of the game, after the 12th round, then you can use any shopkeeper for free without having to like have the proper number of movements to get there. So it's basically just 1 free action at the end of the game. But I really enjoy this game. I thought it was so much fun. I really loved it. Not super complicated, but still enough strategy to keep you interested in trying to get like, you know, a nice engine going with the different shopkeepers you're putting out and stuff. Really love this game. Really nice components as well. Love the artwork. You know, love the Japanese theme. I don't think I have too many games with a Japanese theme. Really great game. Oh, here's the score pad actually. So my opponent scored 95 and I scored 86. So yeah, at the end of the game, you'll get wherever your score marker is on the Iki track, you'll get that. Then you'll collect points for, I don't know what that is, but then you'll get points for fish, tobacco, buildings. Any gold you have left over is worth points, then wood you have left over is worth points, and then money for every 4 money you have left over. What is that one other thing though? It's I think it's for different cards that you have. Let me just check quickly because that's bothering me. I just want to know what that is. So let me just see what that is. End of game. Characters variety. Yeah. So depending on how many different kinds of characters you have of the different colors, you'll score points for that as well. So yeah, so it's a really good game. Love it. Highly recommend it. And I do believe there's an expansion coming out this year for this game. So that's exciting. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the expansion brings to this game. Yeah, so I think the complaint that my opponent had was that the fires are just really random. So, you know, they're just a couple of tiles and they determine which part of the board the fire breaks out in. And then depending on if someone owns a person there or not. So neutral people, there are going to be neutral people throughout this game that are brought out if you're in a 2-player game. I don't know if there's neutral people in a 3 or 4-player game. I don't believe so. But in a 2-player game, there are going to be neutral characters and those are killed by fires, I believe, unless there's a person in that section who has enough firefighting power to stop the fire from reaching the neutral person. So yeah, so firefighting power is something that you want to be mindful of. I personally liked how random it was because I think in real life you can't predict where a fire is going to break out. So to me, it's kind of thematic with the whole period that this takes place in, you know, so I guess fires used to break out in this place called, I think it's so this is Iki is set during the Edo period in Japan. So that was 1603 to 1868. So Edo was the name of Tokyo during that period. Oh, it was Tokyo. Oh, cool. In the Nihonbashi area was located the most animated market of the city. So along the main street of Nihonbashi, many storekeepers of various activities installed their shops and invited customers to do business. Close to the main street, living in houses called nagayas. So that's what those things were called, were nagayas, sorry. Craftsmen and merchants with various skills helped support the common people of Edo. And then it just describes the different kinds of people you would have. So yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was pretty thematic and really fun with great components and great artwork. I really enjoyed it. So that's definitely a keeper for me. So the next game that I played this weekend was a game that I just acquired. So as I mentioned in a previous video, I was trading in my facade games for store credit at my local game store, which I did, and I was able to get Lofoten in return. So I traded in 3 of my facade games, Tortuga, Salem, and Deadwood. I'm still hanging on to Bristol just because the carts are so nice, but I might end up trading that in eventually too. And then I got Lofoten. So Lofoten is a 2022 game designed by Sebastian Dujardin, and the art is done by my favorite artist, Weberson Santiago, as well as Luis Francisco, and it's published by Pearl Games. This is a 2-player game. The reason I really wanted this game is because Pearl Games had recently made an announcement that Asmodee is no longer going to distribute their games. So unless someone else picks up Pearl Games' games, they might go out of print. So when I saw this at the game store, I knew that I really wanted to pick it up because there are a few other Pearl Games titles that I absolutely love, such as The Bloody Inn and Bruxelles. I don't remember the year, 18 something, I think. So absolutely love that game. It's one of my favorite games. So really wanted to pick up Lofoten, and because it, could possibly go out of print someday, I did sleeve all the cards. So this is a 2-player game in which you are going to have this board in the center, and again, I will post pictures. There are several modules in this game. I played the basic game, but there are modules that you can add to make it a bit more difficult, but it is quite an easy game. So basically you're going to have stacks of these tiles upside down, but so you can see what's coming. You'll be able to see what's coming. These just all happen to be sheep, but you won't see the value that's on the other side until it's flipped over and placed onto the market board in one of these sections. And then you're going to have a draw pile of these cards, and you start out with 3 cards in hand. Now this is a game in which the position of the cards in your hand really matters. So if you've played games like Scout, where you cannot change the position of cards in your hand, this is one of those kinds of games. Sorry, not these big cards, these small cards. So there's going to be a bunch of small cards. If I could just get them out of this bag. Okay, managed to get some out. So you're going to see these small cards. Now, what you're trying to do is, you're going to have 3 cards in your hand, right? At all times. So you'll have 3 cards in your hand. On your turn, you're going to pick one of them to play, and then at the end of your turn, you'll refill your hand. If you play a card from either the left or right side, that gives you movement points. So you're going to have your longboat, and on your longboat, you're going to put in these boat tiles. So let me just do that right now. Sorry, I'm trying to get the correct tiles to put out. Okay, so you have these tiles. Again, there are different sides to this because there's different modules, but you're going to have a boat like this, and you're going to be moving your boat from left to right below this. So you're always going to be lined up to one of these sections, and you're also going to be rotating your boat. The reason you're doing that is because you can only load a card onto this boat if it's facing you, so away, it's at the far end. So let's suppose this is here, then this part is the part that would be facing me. Oh dear, this is really difficult to explain when things are just moving all over the place. So you're going to put a card in. Again, the boat just fell out, but just to show you an example, you'll stick a card in, and you're going to stick it in this way. So if you stick a card in, it's going to be the middle card from your hand. It's only the middle card that you can put into the boat here. And the middle card will allow you to then, when this bottom part, after you've used movement to move it around, you need to rotate it so that it aligns with a cube, a tile of the same type, so that you can collect it. So you're trying to move your boat along from left to right and trying to rotate it so that the cards align with their matching tile type, so that you'll be able to collect that tile. So let me just show you some scoring cards. So you're going to have some scoring cards on the side. And again, we played a basic game, so there were 4 basic scoring cards. So the first time someone collects a tile, the way to get it off of your boat is you again need to have this being rotated. And once again, when it's no longer near here and the goods you picked up are at the bottom, then you can unload it and then discard the card that was underneath that, so that spot becomes free again for you to pick up some other type of good. So you're trying to collect different types of goods and of different values, and every time a good is collected during the cleanup phase, a new good will be selected from the stacks of tiles, and again you'll be able to see what's coming next, but you won't know the value until you pick it. So you can choose from the 2 stacks which tile you want to bring out next and put on the market board here. So when you have cards in your hand. The middle card will always be used to place onto your longboat, and when you do that, you can always optionally take the bonus action that's also printed on that card. If you use one of the side cards, those are what are used for movement. So you're going to be using the side card to take movement. So in this case, both of them have 2. So from whichever position I'm in, I could move either like 2 spaces to so if I'm playing the right card, I would move 2 spaces to the right. If I'm playing the left card, I would move 2 spaces to the left, since both my right and left card have 2 movement points on them. However, I could also just move 1 space and then rotate in the direction of the card I played. So like, let's suppose I'm using my right card, I can move 1 space and then rotate my ship once to the right, because again, you want to rotate this so that you can pick up goods and then unload goods. And those are automatic actions. So like, let's suppose I had this card in my boat and I rotated it and I ended up at a location where this kind of tile was present and my boat is empty. That would allow me to automatically load that good onto my boat. And then again, I want to be able to rotate it so that it's again facing me away from the market board, so that I can automatically unload it and place it underneath one of these scoring cards. So the scoring cards, the other player is going to stack all of their tiles on their side of the scoring card, not stack, but lay out so you can see the point values. And I would have mine on my side of the scoring card. Again, I'll have pictures so that you can kind of see that. And then whoever has the highest value of items of that kind will score the points that are indicated on here, and then whoever has the most points will win. So it's a pretty simple game, and when you draw a card, you can never, during the refill period, you can never place the card you drew in the center. You can only place it here or here. So by deciding which cards to play, you're kind of like looking at what you have, and if you want a card to become the center card, then obviously, you know, you're going to, I mean, you have no choice. You're going to put it here if you wanted this card to become the center card. If you wanted this card to become the center card, then you would place the new card you drew over here. Because again, you can't place a newly drawn card in the center of your hand. So yeah, so again, left and right cards give you movement points, and the middle cards go onto your ship. And after you've unloaded the good, these get discarded, and these will be shuffled again and again to create new draw piles. The game end is triggered when you can no longer refill the market board. And then you are able to remove a good from your ship for free, you know, and then that's it. And then you see who has the most points and who wins. So I actually really liked it. I thought it was a good game. I absolutely really sucked at it. So my opponent, who did really well, I think the object to winning the game is to make sure that you always have a card on this side and this side. Like you know, definitely want to put as many cards onto this board as you can, because there would often be times where a good would come out and I would want that good, but he would get to it first because I'm trying to move my ship there and I'm trying to rotate it to get it in the right position. And my opponent like always had a card on his ship, like on both ends. Whereas, so he was always ready to go and get goods while I was still trying to maneuver my ship. So yeah, so I really sucked at it, but I would like to try to get better at it. And again, it comes with other modules, which I have not played with yet, but I'm excited to try them. So yeah, and there are coins, so you can earn coins. Like if you play a card on your ship, some of them have coins that you can earn, and you can spend coins to like take an extra action, to discard the cards from your hand if you don't like them, or like for an extra movement or rotation or something like that. So the coins do allow you to, you know, get some extra actions from them if you spend them. So that is good. So yeah, so that is Lofoten, which I really enjoyed. And again, you know, I kind of really wanted this game because of the art done by Weberson Santiago. He is my favorite board game artist, and his art just never disappoints. So absolutely love it. So yeah. So that was Lofoten. The next game I will talk about, well, I'll mention briefly. I don't have it here right now, but I finally played another game off of my shelf of shame. Mine's in a box somewhere. We actually played with my friend's copy, and that is Innovation, which is a 2010 game for 2 to 4 players designed by Carl Chudik, and the art has several different artists and is published by Asmodee Games. This is a civilization building game, but completely done with cards, and like the cards have like different icons on them, and you're trying to like splay out your cards. So basically on your turn, you can like draw a card or play a card, and like draw a card or play a card, or you can take the action of a card that's already in your play area. So there's different kinds of cards with different numbers on them. So, you know, you're building up your civilization starting with like value numbered 1 cards, and you're, you know, I think they go up to like 8 or something like that, maybe 10, I can't remember. And there's different symbols on the cards, so you know, sometimes you might be able to splay your cards, which will allow you to have more symbols visible. There's different kinds of achievements that you're trying to get. All good. I need to read the rule book for myself because I'll be honest, I did not understand the scoring in this game. I didn't have the rule book. My friend explained the game to me, but the scoring just did not make sense to me. I did end up getting a couple of achievements, but I still don't understand like how the scoring kind of worked in this game, so that I need to do a bit more research into. But as far as civilization games go, it was a very strange game for me. I need to play it again. I think it's a game I might like if I play it again and understand it a bit better. I started to like really get a feel for it as I was, you know, playing my different cards, using the different actions on them. Like, you know, I kind of knew like, oh, okay, I want higher number cards here. I want to like get these symbols to get these achievements. But again, I wasn't sure about the scoring cards. Like you put cards, like you have this one main card, which I guess you can call a player aid, and on one side there's the scoring section and on another side there's the achievement section. I'm not sure how you turn the cards in the scoring section into achievements, which is what my opponent was doing, whereas I was just going for the achievements that were laid out and had very obviously written on them what you need to do in order to get them. Obviously I lost because, you know, I didn't have a full understanding of what was going on, but I would like to play it again because it seems quite interesting, and it has like a whole bunch of different expansions. If you've played Innovation, please, you know, if you can explain to me how scoring works, or maybe I'll try to find my copy and pull out the rule book and try to understand it a little bit better myself. And finally, the last game I played, actually it was the first game in this last week, but the last one I'll talk about is Viscounts of the West Kingdom. So this is a 2020 game for 1 to 4 players, designed by S.J. McDonald and Shem Phillips, and the art is done by the Micho, and this is published by Garfield Games. Now this was the 3rd game in the West Kingdom trilogy by Shem Phillips and S.J. McDonald, and honestly I've only played 2 games from the West Kingdom trilogy. I've played Architects of the West Kingdom a number of times now. I think I've played that like maybe 4 or so times. This was my second play of this. I played this once in 2021 when I was commissioned to make a 1-minute video of it, and then I played it again recently and I really enjoyed it. I think I prefer it in the West Kingdom series. I preferred this to Architects of the West Kingdom. I still haven't played Paladins though. So in this game, I'll throw up pictures, but you're basically going to have a board, and of course you're going to have a board, and you are just, you know, going around and going around this board and performing like different actions. Let me just show you a player board. So here is a player board. So this game is interesting. You're going to have different characters that you're playing, and the icons on those characters are like, you know, giving you action points, I guess you could say. And depending on what kind of action you are taking, you want to count up the different icons you have available on your board. If you place certain buildings, that might open up more action spots, more icons for you, because your buildings are covering this row. So by placing certain buildings, if you do a build action, you might open up more icons, which in this case would allow you to do the trade action, you know, give you more bags for the trade action. So, you know, you're trying to collect a certain number of bags or, you know, crosses or whatever symbols, because you're trying to perform different actions. So, you know, you can move a certain number of spaces and then do an action, and there's certain arrows you're following on the board to determine where you're going. You know, of course you're recruiting new people into your hand. You want to make your hand stronger. So it's a deck building game as well. There's a castle in the center, so you want to send workers to the castle. So yeah, there is a lot going on in this game. I prefer it to Architects just because it's a bit more complicated, it's a bit heavier, and I think it's just got more, you know, variety of actions, and just it's more competitive, I feel like. You know, so I really enjoyed this game. what else can I say about it? So yeah, so my opponent, I went through the entire rule book with him. He'd never played it before, and I explained endgame scoring to him, and I explained how at the end you will also score for people in the castle. For whatever reason, he decided that he was not going to put anyone in the castle, so that really helped me to secure a big win over him. I think I had 78 in the end, and he had 50, because I ended up getting a lot of workers into the castle. But yeah, it's a really good game. So, again, you're just moving around this board and performing different kinds of actions like trade, like building. And at the end of your turn, you can recruit. And also you're being mindful of corruption. So there's a corruption track. And if your corruption marker and your virtue marker ever meet, you're going to have to resolve corruption, which is interesting because it also affects other players. So anytime someone has to resolve corruption, all the other players could be affected as well, depending on where, on the track you are and stuff. So it's a really interesting game. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. Again, if you enjoy like Sean Phillips games, highly recommend this one because I think it's a really good one. And I prefer it to Architects of the West Kingdom. So yeah, so definitely check out this game. Yeah, and again, in this game, there's like deeds. So you have deeds and what's the other word? Deeds and debts. Sorry, debts. And there's kind of like a seesaw effect with the deeds and debts because depending on which one triggers game end, you will look to the other kind and see who has like the most of those, and they'll get a certain number of points for that, which is really interesting. So you want to try to balance out your deeds and debts if you can, if you are concerned about scoring points for those in the end. Yeah. And everyone has like their own starting hand of cards. There's manuscripts you can transcribe and get set collection points from those, which I definitely did. So yeah, this is the castle that sticks out from the board, which I really like and that you're trying to go up on. And the way you go up on the castle is interesting in how you advance people up on the castle, because you need 3 people in a section. And then once there's 3 people in a section, then someone can hop up to the next level. So yeah, so there's lots of interesting things going on in this game, which I like. So yeah, from the West Kingdom series, I definitely prefer this game, but again, I have not played Paladins yet. So those were the games I played in the last week. So let's move on because, oh my gosh, I have so many games to show you that arrived. So games I'm backing, currently just the print and play of Pride and Prejudice. That's the only one. The Kickstarter for that one game, Zuvadis, already ended. So just $4 print and play Pride and Prejudice is the only game I'm currently backing. So let's talk about games I received or that I bought. And the first one I'll show you is Huang. So this is a Rainier Knizia game published by Phalanx Games, which is coming out onto Kickstarter later this month. So I still need to play it and make a video of it. It just arrived like yesterday or the day before, I think. So Huang, it's a new version, a new edition of a Rainier Knizia game. I don't remember what it was called previously. Yeah, it was first released as Yellow and Yangtze. So it's a the sister game to Tigris and Euphrates. So Huang is a game for 2 to 4 players that's coming out on Kickstarter later this month, designed by Rainier Knizia and published by Phalanx. So again, this is a prototype edition. I'm not going to take out too much, but I will need to play this soon and make a video of it. Yeah, so I'm going to try to do that soon, but it has like these hexagon tiles. It's got a bunch of miniatures, it looks like, and a board at the bottom, but I don't want to like, like, again, this is a prototype edition, so but here are just some of the buildings. And here's like a miniature. So I'll just show you an example. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to playing this. I'm not sure if I've ever covered a Rainier Knizia game. I think for its crowdfunding, I'm wondering what the game is that I covered for Alley Cat Games. I think that might have been a Rainier Knizia game. I covered an Egyptian themed game for Alley Cat Games. What was that? Was that a Rainier Knizia game? It might have been. I'm trying to find it. I cannot find it, but I think that was also a Rainier Knizia game. Sorry, I know I'm just wasting your guys' time, but when I get stuck on something, I have to just satisfy my curiosity before I move on. Okay, so Alley Cat Games, I'm just clicking on their name. Let me just check quickly. Amun-Re. Let's see. So I covered Amun-Re, which, yes, was a Rainer Knizia game. So I think this is the second Rainer Knizia game I am covering for a crowdfunding campaign, which is exciting. So yeah, I covered Amun-Re for Alley Cat Games last year, I believe it was. Okay, so that arrived, which I hope to play really soon so that I can make my video for it. You know, hopefully before the campaign starts or mid-campaign, because they knew that I didn't get the game in time to maybe get it out in time for the campaign. Another game that I have bought recently is Thrive. So I had no intention of buying this game. What happened was I spend a lot of time at Barnes & Noble because it's like my favorite place. Like, you know, living locally, it's like I just love spending time at Barnes & Noble, just walking around, looking at books and looking at stuff. And this was in the sales section and it was the only one there for $15. And this happened to be a game that I had noticed and wanted before, but it's really hard to find. Like, there's not really any copies of it for sale in the US that I could see on BGG Market, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So the fact that I found it at Barnes & Noble and this was the only one there on sale for $15 just randomly, because I'd never seen it like actually in the board game section at Barnes & Noble before. Like, it just felt like very serendipitous. Like, I was like, oh my God, like I just got so excited when I saw it because this was a game that was on my radar, and I just felt so excited that it was there. It has one page of rules. It seems like checkers, like it seems like an advanced kind of checkers. So the board is a cloth board and each player is going to have 4 lotuses in their own color. And I have not played it, so I might get the rules a little bit wrong, but from what I read, this is how it plays. So you're going to each have 4 lotuses in your own color, and you're going to have a center peg in orange on your lotus, and then you are trying to add other pegs around that center peg, which will dictate how this lotus can move, and you're basically just trying to eliminate the other player's lotuses. I don't remember what the game end trigger is, like in case, you know, you run out of pegs or whatever, I don't know. But basically that's it. So each player just has 4 lotuses, and then you just have those pegs and a cloth board, and that is it. So those are all the components for this game. It is published by the same publisher of Planet Unknown. It's published by Adam's Apple Games, actually. The cover is just so freaking pretty. I just like love this cover, like so pretty. Just really love the colors. Oh my God. Yeah, so I'm really excited to play this. Okay, I already went over Lofoten, which is a game I bought by trading in some games. The next game I will show you guys, and I'm so excited for, is City of the Great Machine. And oh my God, there's so much here. So I covered this game for its Kickstarter. So here is the main box. And then it comes with a bunch of, if you got the deluxe all in, then there's several different expansions. And I don't think all of this stuff will fit into the main box. So this is a 1 versus many game, and if you guys watch my content, then you'll know I prefer playing 1 versus many games as 2-player games, so that one person is always playing as one side and the other person is playing as the other side. So here is the rule book, and then there's like a reference guide, which is really cool, like so freaking thorough. I absolutely loved this game when I played it, when I covered it for its Kickstarter. Like, I really enjoyed this game so much. I absolutely loved everything about it, the theme, the mechanics. Like, I just really enjoy 1 versus many games. This was just so much fun, and so I'm just super excited for it. I went ahead and sleeved all of the cards, but I'll try to show them to you. So like here are some city event cards. And you know, they all have like this really amazing steampunk artwork on it. And I just show you some of the different characters you can play as. And the expansions have lots more like characters that you can mix in and stuff. Oh, that's a city event card as well. Sorry, that got stuck in there. These are more characters, and then there's like some player aids. And the board, like this game has a lot of variability because you get to decide how the board is going to look. Like I believe the rulebook has certain suggestions for layouts, but you can also totally randomize it as long as you follow the layout rules about like different connections and stuff like that. But again, like just look at the artwork on these boards. Absolutely love it. Like, I'm a huge steampunk fan, so this is just really, really great. Yeah, and then there are cards. So there's directive cards. So like various directive cards. And there are some player aids again. So yeah, I went ahead and sleeved everything. I don't remember what these are. There's like different cards like these. I can't remember everything because it's been a long time. And then there's different players who have, so different players have like access cards, which I believe, if I remember correctly, would allow them to like access different parts of the board, if I remember correctly. You know, it's been a long time, so again, don't remember too much, but oh my god, I spent so much time sleeving this game. It took forever to sleeve the base game plus all of the expansions. There are like different kinds of tiles and stuff in this game. Again, don't remember everything, but I'm really hoping I get to play this soon. There's like a lot of different components. This does come with a bunch of miniatures for the different characters. So yeah, so I'll put this away and just show you some of the expansion stuff. So yeah, I did sleeve everything because this is one of those games where I feel like it might not be like super available. So like, God forbid something happens to my copy, I may not be able to like ever get a replacement. So, and you know, games that I feel like are more like indie, I definitely feel like sleeving. So yeah, just to protect them. So I'm not sure if they're an indie publisher. I think they'd be called an indie publisher. It's a Crowdox game. So this is designed by German Tikomirov, and it's published by not Crowdox. I don't know why I said Crowdox. Crowd Games. So yeah, let me put that to the side. And then here's one of the expansions, which is called Stand-in Heroes. So you can substitute the heroes that come in the game. And then this also came with some additional cards. So I went ahead and sleeved everything from all the expansions as well. So, you know, it comes with a bunch of different small cards. I actually want to show you the back of this small card because I really like it. It's a really cool steampunk bird. Like, I really love that bird. And then these are really cool glasses. Check these out. Yeah. Really love the artwork in this game. Oh, and this rose is really pretty. Okay, I'm going to show you the rose too. Yeah, seriously love the artwork in this game. Ugh. Yeah, and again, there's just some cool miniatures and some character cards. So yeah, so this is one expansion. There are several expansions. I'll just show you one of the other big box. And then there's like some tiny boxes too. The only downside is I don't think everything will fit in the main box, so you will, I think, have to keep all of the boxes for this. So here's another expansion. This one seems more substantial. It also has miniatures and more cards. It has this really cool miniature like flying blimp thing. It actually has a stand that you'll put it on, so it's like raised from the board. That is really cool. And it's got this part, whatever this is, I actually don't know what that is. And then a lot more cards, character cards, new characters. And this one has like inventions in it, so I don't know what the inventions do. And then there's like different theory cards. So, you know, when I played this game, I did not play with any expansions, and then there's a bunch of smaller cards as well. And then it also comes with some cardboard components. So when I played this game, you know, I just played the base game. I didn't play with any expansions, so I don't know what the expansions do. But this one seems pretty substantial. It's also got a number of cardboard components in the insert here, like here as well. So yeah, so this is one expansion as well. And then there's two small ones. So yeah, so a lot of stuff for this game. And again, you know, the only downside is that I don't think everything will fit into the main box. I just hope that you can differentiate what's an expansion and what's part of the main game so that you can separate them at the end of the game if needed. And finally, the last game that I have to show you is one that I bought because I don't know if you guys saw the announcement. Holy Grail Games has gone bankrupt, and so they won't be fulfilling their Kickstarters that they have outstanding, which One of them was like some game that I think had to do with South America, like Copan, I think. And then there was like some other game. So Holy Grail Games, I don't know what else they've published, but let me check. So since they made that announcement, as soon as I saw that announcement, I was like, okay, I need to get Encyclopedia, which I did, because I'd heard a number of people raving about Encyclopedia. And since they went bankrupt, I was like, okay, people are going to jack up the prices. Like as soon as this news becomes widespread, people will jack up the prices of any Holy Grail games because they might go out of print. You know, some other publisher might not pick up the rights to them. If you read the announcement from Holy Grail Games, it seems like their distributor Belore like really screwed them over and has possession of any games that they currently owned. So unless the distributor decides to be really nice and somehow distribute those games or sell them, like they're like really like you might be shit out of luck in trying to get a game if you can't find it online. So I decided to buy Encyclopedia while I could. It was on Amazon, so even though money is really tight and I know I shouldn't be spending money, I figured buy it now at a reasonable price rather than if I want it down the road. But prices get jacked up because at that point it's going to be out of print. I mean, it has a 7.6 rating on BGG. So this is a 2022 game for 1 to 4 players designed by Eric Dubout and Olivier Mielson, or Mellison rather, and several different artists whose names I'm going to butcher, and again published by Holy Grail Games. So Encyclopedia, had a number of rave reviews from some people, and then I watched so I really like Luke and the Broken Meeple, and I watched his content, and his review was not so great of this game, but I watched it after I bought the game. Here are some components. So like each person is going to have like one board, and on one side I think you're going to put like this thing, like which is maybe your character card. And then I think you have this, and then you'll have something else on this side, I believe. So here, the board is really big, so I'm not going to open the whole thing, but just to show you a little bit of it. And then here's the other side of the player boards. So actually, this part goes in here. Sorry, the character goes in here. So your character goes in here, and then this part goes in here. So yeah. I think, if I remember correctly, one of the complaints Luke had was that these are kind of poorly made, and I would agree. Like, I very gently put these together, but it already like split on several of these. Like, I don't know if you can see it, but this part split in several of these component holders, even though I was trying to be as gentle as I possibly could. So I might have to glue these or tape them or something. I mean, it's nice that it comes with these component holders, but again, yeah, the quality is probably not the best. You have a bag filled with some dice, but just regular dice, nothing too special, just regular color dice. What is special about this game, I would say, is the artwork on the cards. Like the animal cards, absolutely love the artwork, so I'm really glad that I ended up getting it in the end. So let me just show you some of the, I'm not going to pull all of them out because it's hard, but of course I put the elephant on top to show you guys. But yeah, all different kinds of animals from the various continents. Absolutely love the artwork. I think it's really pretty. I like seeing a variety of art in games, like done by different artists. Like I get sick of seeing the same kind of art over and over. So this is really nice. It's a nice, it's a nice change in terms of artwork in games. And let me just show you this one because it has a pangolin. So I'll just pull out the pangolin because I absolutely love the pangolin. Yeah, so really great artwork on these cards. These cards are 7 Wonders-sized cards. And again, I sleeved them just because now that this game could potentially go out of print, I was like, I need to preserve it and make sure it stays in good condition. And then there are a bunch of these small cards, which I also sleeved. I don't know what these are. Again, I don't know what anything is, to be honest, because I haven't played it. But anyway, so that's why I felt compelled to get this game, even though I told myself I would not be buying any more games. But because they made their announcement that they went bankrupt and they were handing over everything to the banks, like they would be losing control of their email and everything. Like they just completely went bankrupt. So I figured to be on the safe side, I should get this game because it might be difficult in the future to do so. So that is why I bought this game. And now I shall try to put everything away if I can. It's really hard to fit everything in this box when you sleeve it. It's like super duper hard. Okay, whatever. so that is that. That is Encyclopedia. So let me know if you own any Holy Grail games. I'm actually looking at their BGG page. So I actually own one other Holy Grails game, which is Museum Pictura. I actually won that in a contest. So before I became a content creator, because, since I've become a content creator, I very rarely enter contests because I just don't think it's fair to non-content creators. But I had won Museum Pictura in a contest, like the all-in Kickstarter edition, before I became a content creator. So that is sitting on my shelf of shame. But other than that, I don't think I own any games that have been made by them. I think their most known, well-known title is Rallyman GT or whatever, Rallyman Dirt, I guess. So there's a bunch of Rallyman games. Titan, I don't know what Titan is. Museum. So the games that will not be delivering, I think, are Copan, Dying City, and maybe Dominations. I don't know if Dominations delivered or not. It looks like that was one of their recent games. And then, I don't know if Caesar's Empire or not delivered. I don't know. So yeah, it really sucks for the people who back those games. I myself have a Kickstarter that's been outstanding that I backed back in 2019 and still has not delivered, which I'm not sure ever will, called Adventures in Neverland, and I've totally lost interest in it. And I was actually the number 2 backer for that game. It's the lowest backer number I've ever gotten. I also got backer number 2 for Dreadful Meadows. I was so intent on getting backer number 1 for Dreadful Meadows, but got number 2. Sucks. I've never gotten 1, but maybe someday. Okay, moving on. So those are the games I have received and or bought. So let's talk about updates. There will not be a video next week, weekly playback video, that is, because I'm going to visit my sister in Florida. So it's nice that even when I'm broke, I can just go to Florida as long as I can somehow scrounge up money for a plane ticket, because I'm obviously going to be staying with my little sister at her place. So that's nice. So I'll be getting out of the cold weather and going to Florida for a week. So that's nice. So there won't be a weekly playback video next week, but I'll be back the weekend after. And then in terms of 1-minute videos coming up, I know I haven't done as many as I used to, but you do have a couple to look forward to. So you'll be seeing videos for Scholars of the South Tigris, Starship Captains, and Huang. So you'll be seeing those. One person did ask on one of my videos, if I could put Toffee in my videos more. He's a cat. Cats only do what they want to do. I can't exactly force him to be in my videos, but when I was doing my top 10, I don't know if you guys skipped through my top 10 or not, but he likes to open this closet door, and he had gone inside and then he came out and then he was reaching for these games. And a friend had commented on the videos that was really cute. I agree, it was very cute, but cats do what they want to do. And unfortunately, he likes to sleep typically when I shoot these videos, as opposed to Dobby, who used to come and make an appearance now and then. Things have been really hard. It's nice having Toffee around, but I miss Dobby so incredibly much. I cannot explain how much I miss him. There are so many things around the house that trigger me and just bring immense sadness to me when I see them, and I get just so sad when I think about how little time he had in this house and how I won't get to fulfill all the dreams I had for both of us when the weather gets nicer. I wanted to build Dobby a really nice big catio in the backyard. It's been really, really hard. I know it's been a little over a month, but I still miss him so much. But Toffee's he's a very different cat, but I'm happy that Toffee is here, but I miss Dobby a lot still. Moving on, going into questions and commentary. So I just want to ask, I might have asked this before, but as you guys saw today, a lot of the cards I showed you in the games today have been sleeved, and I wanted to ask you whether you sleeve or not, and if you do sleeve, when do you sleeve games? For me, I sleeve games that I believe are rare or out of print. So if I do get a game that I believe is rare, like Witch's Brew, which is the the original version of Broom Service. Broom Service was based on a game called Witch's Brew, which is out of print. So when I managed to get my hands on Witch's Brew, obviously I was going to sleeve those cards. So I sleeve cards for games that are out of print or rare, or that I think will be rare. I sleeve games that have games that I love, obviously, games that I know will get played a lot. I'm going to sleeve those. And then I sleeve games that, on the opposite end, just may not be games that I love or rare, but games that have really poor card quality, I will sleeve those just to make the components a bit nicer. So if you are a sleever, I want to know when you sleeve games, like for which games. And if you are not a sleever, could you tell me why? So I'm trying to get away from sleeving everything. I used to be a compulsive sleever, but it's a very expensive habit. Like you might spend as much on sleeves as you do on the games themselves. So I'm really trying to get away from sleeving everything. And I think I've been doing a good job. Like as you noticed, Viscounts wasn't sleeved, or you may have not noticed because I don't think I actually pulled out any cards, but there are games which I'm now managing to play without sleeving them. But it's still hard. It's still a compulsion. Like I still really want to sleeve everything, but it's just too expensive, so I just can't. So if you are a sleever, tell me when you sleeve games, and if you're not, please tell me why you don't, because that might help me. And I guess that's it. So I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.